The second day of class this week, we are talking about the other starting terms. So we did point line, plane last class, and now we're doing segment, ray, collinear, and coplanar. And we're going to learn the proper notation for those as well. So collinear points are points that lie on the same line. So collinear, so think about in algebra, when we talked about a linear line, it was like a straight line on a graph. So if they're collinear, that means they're points on the same line. If they're non-collinear, non is like no, and linear is the line. So these are points that are not on the same line. So points not on the same line. Coplanar points, so notice planar, so like a plane, and it's co, so they're like together. So coplanar are going to be points on the same plane. Oh, I've got it down here. Points that lie on the same plane. There we go. Awesome. And then a space is the set of all points. So we won't do much with that now, but it'll come back again later in the year. Set of all points. So the definitions of the other terms we're dealing with, these are from the book. So a segment is the part of a line that consists of two endpoints and all points between them. So specifically, it looks kind of like a line, but notice there aren't arrows on the ends this time. So a segment ends, so it's going to end with 2 points. So you can name a segment by its two endpoints, such as AB, red segment AB, or BA, red segment BA. So it needs to have that straight line above it. If it had been a line, it would have those 2 arrows on the ends of it. Then a ray is a part of a line that consists of one endpoint and all the points in the line on one side of the endpoint. So specifically, it's like an arrow pointing in one direction. So it's going to have a point at one end and then an arrow on the other end. Think about it like a sun ray. Like here's the sun, and then that's staying put, and then rays are going out from it, going on forever. So you can name a ray by its endpoint and another point on the ray, such as AB. So that's red ray AB. The order of the points indicates the ray's direction. So this one, you would say ray AB because A is the starting point and B is where it goes from there. What you could not say is you couldn't say ray BA because B is not where it starts, so that would not work. So that's no good. So you have to say that whatever one is starting, it goes first, and then whichever way the arrow points goes second. Then our final one is opposite rays. So opposite rays are 2 rays that share the same endpoint and form a line. So notice here, these 2 rays are sharing C, and then one ray is starting at C and going this direction, and the other ray is starting at C and going this direction. So you can name opposite rays by their shared endpoint and any other point on each ray, such as ray CA and ray CB. So both of those are going to involve the letter C, and C is the starting point for both, so C comes first when you name them. You say CA and CB. Even though I know in English we'd want to read this AC, but since A is where the arrow is, you're going to say that's second. So a few practice problems. Name 3 segments in the diagram. So remember, segments don't have the arrows, so like R to Q, that would be a segment. So we'd put a flat line and say R, oh, no, looks like a B, R, Q. Or you could do it backwards and say QR. So the order does not matter for a segment. We can also say segment RS, or like QT is a segment as well. Make sure you're putting that flat line on top of it. So there's other options, but those are a few. So 3 rays. So this is where the order does matter. So it looks like Q is a good starting spot for a few of them. So I could say ray QS. And then remember you're doing a ray above that as well. Or ray QT, or ray QN. So all of these are rays because they're starting at an endpoint and then going on to an arrow forever. Or we could do ray RS. So if you say it that way, then we're starting the ray here and then going forever that direction. Then a pair of opposite rays in the diagram would have to be some that start at Q. So we could say like QR, and then opposite QR is QS. So QR and QS are going to be opposite rays. The other set would be QT and Qn, because those both start at Q. One goes up, one goes down. So now that you've seen some examples, why don't you guys try the practice problems? And that is it for this week. Good job.